Somebody accused me of only preferring certain brands and shunning others. They are absolutely correct. I do prefer certain brands and I do shun others. This right here is a TCL Roku TV, and I've heard a lot of reviews about it. And I decided that what I was going to do was buy one, assemble it, and make a review about it. So right now I'm waiting in line here at Walmart. I got to grab some salt because it's been snowing outside. And I'm going to take this home and I'm going to make a quick review about it and show you how it's assembled. And then I'm going to keep you updated with long-term reliability. My videos, you know that I do little snippet reviews anytime I replace equipment or I buy new equipment. This was a Sanyo DP32. I'm pretty sure they don't make this model specifically anymore. But this lasted between 7 and 8 years. And typically out of one of these things, you expect to get somewhere between 70,000 and 100,000 hours. This television actually outlasted that 100,000 hour suggestion. This is a DP32640. And I know this, they don't make this anymore, and the newer televisions are obviously smaller and thinner than this model is. But basically, I'm replacing this Sanyo because it's old to the point where it stops functioning sporadically. So I said, fuck it, I'll just get another one. And, you know, if you just need a simple television for a child's room or a guest room, it's like these little televisions that you see at Walmart and Target, Best Buy, whatever, that they're selling between $100 and $200. They're a pretty decent deal, but you know, you expect these things are going to last between 8 and 10 years typically. So I have had a relatively decent experience with Sanyo, but now that Vizio's is so much cheaper, it's like now you have so many options. And with this, as you can see with this TCL, this is a smart television with Roku TV built in. And basically, even though I intend only for the person who uses this to use it with a regular Fios cable box, the beauty of it is if they want to be able to watch my YouTube videos, you know, or if they want to be able to watch like HBO Now or Netflix, which I'm pretty sure they won't use Netflix, now they'll be able to do it with the Roku remote that comes with it, or they can use an app on a phone. And that's pretty cool. It's like the TV that you saw me review, the 50-inch Vizio that I bought during Black Friday. This comes with some TCL batteries, comes with this Roku remote. Now, I want you to notice, and this is something that kind of annoyed me with the Vizio I bought, it has the buttons for everything except YouTube. It's like, I don't use Netflix, I don't use Sling, I don't use Hulu since they started making you pay them for it. So my thing is, why isn't there a YouTube button? You know, of course somebody will complain and they'll say, oh yeah, why are you always complaining? And then I'll tell them to go fuck themselves and I'll block them. But the simple fact is, why doesn't it have a YouTube button when YouTube is more important? These are the feet for the television to stabilize it. And it comes with 4 simple screws. So all you got to do is insert the feet, put the screws in. That should take you no more than about 2 minutes. That these feet are cheap plastic feet. And, you know, they're easy to screw in with the 2 screws. But it really bothers me when I think about the fact that, you know, this brand made in China, it's like cheap plastic that we're getting. And the thing about it is, even if you wanted to buy American, you really don't have many options. There's almost no options. As you can see, these are the mounting brackets. So basically, the one thing I want everybody to understand is when America sends our factory jobs overseas and leaves us with nothing more than prisons to imprison more Americans in order to keep these small towns actually functioning, I just want you to understand that when we send this money over there, what is eventually going to happen, whether it's China or India or Southeast Asia, what's going to happen is that money is going to come back as cash. And they're going to basically be able to buy out your properties because you won't have a job because your job is over there. What we're doing is we're exporting inflation. And when we export inflation, it comes back and you will feel it as a higher cost of living. Don't believe the numbers when they talk about inflation. Don't believe that 10%, 11% bullshit. What you need to understand is inflation is in the form of high cost of living, or you will be outbid when you attempt to buy an apartment or a certain building or property, because now you're up against Asians with bags filled with cash. Now, I'm not saying that to sound nationalist, but what I'm saying is you have to take care of your people here first. That's why you should vote for me in 2020. Okay, so I just activated it. This seems to be a little light down here. I don't know what that's about. I usually don't read the instructions. So let's get started. Okay, now this is the Roku remote. I kind of like the fact that on the side of the Roku remote, it has the Roku remote has volume up, volume down, and it has mute right on the side. That's actually pretty cool because this way you hold it like that. It makes a sound. The sound comes from the television. Okay, so it makes a little ticking sound when you take it up. English, United States of America. Set up for home use. Thank you, that's easy. It's an easy setup. This is basically one of those technology-laden systems where it's like they try to make it look, more luxurious by making everything as simple as possible. Pretty much Apple started that and everybody started to copy it basically with Apple iOS because they tried to make it so that anybody could do this no matter how technologically unsavvy they were. So let me set up the Wi-Fi. I'm a little disappointed that there is no Ethernet, and because there's no Ethernet, you don't get a solid connection to the internet because I have Fios and everything. So I'm going to set up the internet system right now. So the system is just connecting to the password. Now that your TV will get the latest software. Once the update is installed, it will restore automatically. Some people prefer Wi-Fi because that means that they can put a computer or a television anywhere they want. The only problem is you don't get stable connections and there's a lot of internet noise because you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wireless connections right in this area. I don't like the crosstalk possibility and I also don't want the noise. So I like having I like having Ethernet because for the most part, I never have to worry about the connection timing out or anything. I never have to worry about it. As this says, the yearly cost of having this damn thing is going to be about, $10? These are small televisions, for a small space. So basically you don't really have to worry about, huge TV costs. Like, I have a large television just like the one you saw me buy. I got a 50 in pretty much every room and then an 80 in the living room. So I was really waiting for 100. I have an aunt who said, "Oh, I don't want a big TV. I don't want my whole wall to be a TV." And I looked at her like she was stupid. I was like, "What are you kidding? I want my whole fucking wall to be a television. I don't want no projector either. I want a television the size of the goddamn sheetrock. That's what I want. I want my TVs to be as huge as possible. So this way, like when you're watching anything, everybody is like 10 inches tall or longer or bigger." Okay, so the same setup is pretty good. It automatically sets itself up. And somebody like always complains. They're like, "Oh yeah, why do you buy stuff from Walmart?" Here's the thing though. If anything goes wrong with this, all I got to do is walk this thing right back to Walmart, get that store credit, and I buy something else, or I buy something. I could buy something better, or I could buy something else. So it says using a web browser, do this, enter URL code. I'm not doing any of that shit right now, so I'll reset the code. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm ready to just get right to the television. Yeah, it looks good. It's not as heavy. Oh, Star Trek's on. It's not as heavy as the other one. Oh, and the C button on the Fios thing, if you push the C button, it spreads out the picture to the full. It spreads out the whole picture across the whole side of the television. But you have to remember to do that.
Ask your doctor about Entyvio, the only biologic developed and approved just for UC and Crohn's. Entyvio works at the site of inflammation in the GI tract and is clinically proven to help many patients. Yeah,
but they're basically giving these things away now. It's like the ones that are about this size are usually about 150 or less. But once you go past, like the one, it's like once you go past about 40 inches or 50 inches, they're still only like $300 or $400. And during Christmas, the prices get really low. Yeah, because over there in China, they're shitting this stuff out so fast they can't even think.
Liver problems can occur with Entyvio. If your UC or Crohn's treatment isn't working,
you ain't got no choice. There's no American-made products. You got no choice. So they got this shit on lockdown. Yeah, it looks really good. I like it.
My car. This is my car.
It is virtually impossible for someone to completely describe or explain the long-term reliability of a television without being able to do vlogs on it over a long period of time. As I mentioned, the Sharp model that I bought lasted more than 7 years. The last Vizio that I had mentioned lasted more than 7 years. This television made by TCL in China, I won't know how long it's going to last, but I'm giving it the time to prove itself, and I expect that it should last at least 7 years or better. In 7 years, technology will have dramatically improved. Right now, the average 50-inch television that's less than $500 has 4K. Now, if you took it back 2 or 3 years, a 4K television was typically $1,000 or more. 2 or 3 years ago, a 4K television that was 50 inches would be over $2,000. Televisions like my 80-inch 1080p were $2,700 or more at BJ's or Costco. So the simple fact is, over time, technology changes. These things aren't expected to last forever. China demands that you buy more of them as they wear out, and they will wear out because it's made mostly of plastic. So being made of plastic basically lets you know that eventually this thing is going to wear out. They don't have parts for these televisions. They expect you to buy a whole new television. In the old days, you could replace a tube, you could replace a transistor. Nowadays, you have to just rebuy everything and keep sending your money overseas. And that's where my disappointment lies. The television itself, to be fair to it, has a fast processor. It goes through all of its channels relatively quickly. The channels have previews, as you can see. You can add channels, history, YouTube, etc., etc. Part of the reason I'm guessing that YouTube wasn't already a button on the remote is because YouTube must be its own entity, and they must have to pay a copyright or something, so they're not going to use YouTube on the remote like they've done with Netflix and other buttons like that. I personally use YouTube for everything. I don't use anything else. I don't use Netflix. I don't use Hulu. I used to like Hulu when Exo Squad episodes were on it, but I don't use that anymore. This television, I'm going to give it time to prove itself. If I have any issues with it, obviously I will do an update, just like this video, which is technically an update on the Sharp video that I did years ago when I bought that Sharp into the fray. Or when I buy a Vizio and brought that into the fray, I do a video if I decide to replace it years from now. So thus far, I'm happy with it. $140, $150, you could get a Samsung. $150, you get a Vizio. I'm going to give it a chance to prove itself, but so far it looks like a good smart television.